before we completely. And she came in with an mask on anyway. And I said, if you're comfortable, you can take the mask off. If it makes you more comfortable, leave it on. We're fine with either way. And well, only have makeup.
Well, that's true, because we take our masks off, and that's my makeup,
Yeah. It's only another makeup. Yeah, I've gone to Jack's Fit now, lipstick. And then you put lipstick on, it gets all over. I'm good, how are you?
Oh, thank you. Oh, we all 7 o'clock.
Oh, I'm the other, I'm not anything, but I'm just a citizen. Somebody has, no, that's what they.
What are you?
Even though there's a lot of high fence.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
But I just said, no, yeah. How about your kids?
How are you? You're still upright. I'm not gonna ask.
Oh, and then we read into all of that beginning. And then, so we just get off the road, get off the main drag, and we went out.
We're worried about the weather meeting on
I'm here about 8
Well, I'm so stupid. I had to go somewhere else, so I got on my Sunday, and I'm just moving along, listening to you guys on the phone. And then all of a sudden, y'all started cutting out.
Oh, he's gonna.
And I thought, oh, well, I'm such an idiot. I was using the Wi-Fi.
It was just not.
It was gone. Yeah. No, and then at that point, there was no getting back. So.
Yeah. You good? Yeah, we have very few people that.
I called her.
Yeah, I like to, just kind of have an idea of what's going on. What did y'all decide about that salary thing? Y'all were discussing that when I was at
I think the salaries are gonna go up.
Yeah.
Without them like there.
They can't tell who's holding on to whom.
We both need the money.
Right.
Everybody just thinks that.
Yeah. Written policy or something that says, training, but we need you to stay on board for 3 years at least.
It's hard to enforce.
Yeah, well, that's what we decided to do.
It's hard to enforce a contract.
I don't know. Maybe it is. It's just a lot of money wasted. That's where they drop out.
Yeah.
They drop out. And you can know
Good afternoon.
It's hard to know in this economy. It's hard to know.
Grateful for that.
It's been taking us longer to
Yeah.
find people
But my daughter, she hopefully she's got to do it.
Wow. He was vaccinated.
at the time. You don't get them regular. Guy working on maintenance for it.
Pediatric
But it's very hard. I had this problem with Sierra, so it's very hard to get guys to see.
You know what?
Yeah, exactly. When we would lose them to Cessna, in San Antonio, because they were gonna pay them $1 more an hour. Yeah, and they would share a party. I said, there's your $2 an hour. Is gone. No, they don't. It's very hard to.
Not gonna get paid for getting out without working.
But
Well, it's
Oh, yeah,
hard
that's
and
what
it's
you're gonna say,
hard.
that he it doesn't matter which.
to convince
Right,
them
you
like
buy
this.
it or
It's
There are others
easy
you can-
here because TRS, you have choice. But when you're working in a community that has more, if you get them to start contributing, and then the distribution rights, then they want to pull that money out of
I know, I know.
the.
I was like, oh, they're taking out, $150.
But it doesn't keep you from getting COVID because I got.
You don't realize it. Oh, sure.
Back in the
It's just, it's too hard to see.
Oh, yeah, no, I.
But I didn't have anything that I would have thought I had.
So I went in
Well,
there
just
here.
body aches and lost
That
of
time,
taste and
it's
smell.
like,
I never
you know,
had
you're gonna be a
fever,
warrant
no problems.
officer, you're not enlisted.
I have no problems now, fast.
Yeah, then what am I?
But I was done that, I would have retired. I didn't take a little money, I would have had to just free medical. Salary, and I would have retired.
I was telling you that we missed out on the.
20 years, I would have had to be better.
Yeah.
But I didn't think so.
Yeah. I won't last that long, probably.
Yeah, 92
I love my little
and
cousin.
60
And
COVID.
I say little cousin, this tall, but he's a good, 11 years younger than me. And, he just retired as a lieutenant colonel out of the Marines. And, I mean, he's loose and fancy free, yeah, for life.
Medical. Whatever you got.
Although he was in my negotiation.
Yeah. Well, and he paid his dues too, but the thing is, I mean, he's out.
Yeah.
Now it's just great.
He's out, he's living on the beach in Florida.
And where are you?
I'm working in.
Working.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know, I try, I don't think even if I could, I don't think I would ever retire. I did work for a while after last year. For like 6 months. It was really great. No, I had all kinds of projects for 6 months. And then after that, I realized I didn't have
It's only a 10-day
I wasn't getting dressed in the morning. Yes. This has got to stop.
Yeah, that's what I call my doctor.
That's what I want.
Symptoms other than sex and loss. Yeah. She said, okay. That's for 10 days.
You know, when people get it with
Yeah, that makes it harder. They're so lucky they can still have each other.
Yeah. So I try to make a pot smell.
Yeah.
Anyway.
When my dad turned 85, I think it was, I called him to wish him happy birthday. And he said, well, I've made a decision. Please don't tell me to retire. And then his father retired. He was the end of his life. And he said, no, I made a really big decision. I told him, I am not coming in on Fridays anymore.
Hey, that one day really gives you that.
Oh, yeah.
You can't check on yourself, yes.
I know.
I really like that.
No, I didn't know if he had just let him loose again. Well, yeah, he's loose. He's fine. He's going back to education.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. Well, that's one of the things we like about our schedules, so that every third week, I'm off at noon.
That's all I know.
And so that's not
Yeah, exactly.
Here.
That kind of stuff, you can catch up. She calls us out Sunday.
He just goes straight to his cage.
Anyway, buddy, I'm hanging in there.
Better be in your assigned seat or down or around
You're still doing all right.
Push my chair out.
Yeah, they were you.
I'm not that tall, Wade. Still not that tall.
My daughter just came in. You got things to do. Well done.
How are you? Haven't seen you in a long time. You been okay? I know. And your wife's doing good?
How you doing, sir? Medical line.
Really?
Very excited.
Oh, okay.
works beautiful. And now, number of girls.
Haven't seen any of the guys lately? Haven't seen any of the guys like Larry, Jim Wells, any of them? I know, I haven't seen them. Oh, I did run into Miguel. I think it was his birthday or something.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. We always celebrate.
That's good. That's fine. But yeah, we
How's the boy doing?
met Oasis and he said he's good. He said we gotta get
Did
together.
he go somewhere? Did
Nowadays,
he
we
St. Jack
like
still?
purposely get together.
That's what I'm trying to remember. Midland. Midland. Okay. See,
I'm not joking.
Oh my gosh, forget your coffee.
Is he okay though? I haven't seen him. I haven't even seen him. I haven't even seen him.
after college.
Yeah, that's okay.
I needed that.
Oh, yes, thank you. Yeah, but well, there's always radiology. Oh, they have to do a little this and psychiatry. Yeah, something that I never did like. Although you always need psychiatry, when you're dealing with your patients. But anyway,
Well, I'm gonna give you a lapel mic, maybe help you hear it.
well, as long as he can do it physically and
There, okay. Mostly you need to set this down. Hear you a little better. Okay, thank you.
Wade.
Oh, okay. We have control over that.
Oh, okay.
It's on. We'll control it over there. Unless
Thank
you
you.
wanna do it.
they're on.
Okay, Tom, we'll control it back here.
I don't have to mess with it.
Just make sure that whenever you're speaking, you speak into it.
Okay. Can I wear a mask?
Wear a mask. Let me flip this one. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Dr. Rivera, will you please lead us in prayer?
Yes, sir. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day of life you've given us today and the blessings that we've received from you up to now and those blessings that you have in store for us the rest of our lives. Most of all, we thank you for that unconditional love you have for us. We ask you to be with us tonight and to continue to bless us as an institution, as SWTJC, our students, our staff, and faculty, and be with us so that you can help us make decisions that are going to be affecting our students, our staff, faculty, and this institution. And we ask all these things in Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
The meeting of the Board of Trustees will please come to order. Dr. Rivera, will you please read the minutes of September 19th, 2021, please?
Yes, sir. The Board of Trustees of Southwest Texas Junior College met in regular session September 16, 2021, in the Matthews Student Center, Blue Bonnet Room. Board President Flores, Rodolfo Flores, called the meeting to order at 7:05 p.m. Board members present were Rodolfo R. Flores, President, Dr. Harry O. Watkins, Vice President, Victor Lopez, Tony T. Moreno, and Anita Shackelford. Board members absent were Dr. Antonio H. Rivera, Secretary, and Maria Elena Lara. Also present was Dr. Hector Gonzalez, President of the college. The minutes of the August 19, 2021 regular board meeting were read and approved as presented by Ann Tarski. Board President Flores welcomed the guests at the meeting, which included college personnel, Ann Tarski, Margot Mata, Derek Sandoval, Mark Underwood, Wade Carpenter, Ismael Martinez, and Melissa Perespill from the Uvalde Leader News. Audience to patrons, none. The SACS and COC offsite visit report presented by Dr. Mark Underwood. The fall 2021 enrollment report presented by Margot Mata. President report presented by Dr. Hector Gonzalez. A motion was made by Victor Lopez and second by and Anita Shackelford to approve the August 31st, 2021 unaudited financial statement as presented by Ann Starsky. Motion carried unanimously. A copy is attached. A motion was made by Dr. Harry O. Watkins. I propose that the Board of Trustees vote to adopt a tax rate of 0.1535 cents per $100 property valuation. This will represent a decrease in the tax rate, will provide the college with the same amount of revenue as in the previous year. It was seconded by Tony T. Moreno. All board members present voted yea. Motion carried unanimously, and the copy is attached. Motion was made by Rodolfo Flores and seconded by Dr. Harry O. Watkins to nominate Anita Shackelford to the Real County Appraisal District Board. Motion carried unanimously, and a copy is attached. Board President Flores called the board into executive session at 7:35 p.m. to consider A, employees terminated, resigned, retired, new hires, and transfers according to the Texas Government Code 551.074. At 7:41 p.m., the SWTJC board reconvened in regular session. Motion was made by Dr. Harold Watkins and second by Victor Lopez to approve the process of how the Dugas law firm was selected to represent SWTJC concerning the Rio Roofs claim. Motion carried unanimously, and a copy is attached. With no further business or action items to discuss, Anita Shackelford made the motion to adjourn. Dr. Hale Watkins seconded the motion, and the motion carried at 7:45 p.m.
Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes? If not, they will stand approved as read. We're glad to have with us as our guests Ismael Martinez and Tarsky, Sarah Morales, Nita's sister. We're glad to have you. Thank you for being with us. Derek Sandoval, Wade Carpenter, Melissa Fettersfield, and Mark Underwood. Thank you. Next item is audience to patrons.
None, sir.
None. Reports, quarterly investment report.
Number 5, report A. In your board packet is the investment report for the quarter ended August 31st. We had short-term investments in the amount of $20,990,000. Long-term investments in the amount of $444,000, making our total investment amount $21,434,000. This report is not being acted on by the board, it is strictly for your information on a quarterly basis.
Darcy, I have a quick question on the real estate. What real estate is that?
One of the endowments left us a house on the Street.
And what are we doing with that house?
The endowment requires us to keep leasing the house until the current tenant is deceased. So we're just hanging on to it.
And which one is that, the 14 or the 28?
Look here. It's the 14.
How long have we had that?
Longer than I've been here.
Really? And that tenant's still there?
I think so.
It was here in '99 when I came.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. And what other real estate do we have?
The other one is the property in one of the lots that we bought in Crystal City. We bought it with
Oh, the one
Garner.
towards it's the west, northwest kind of lot that's back there?
I think it's actually the one on the corner there.
Hmm.
We had originally bought it with Garner Endowment. That's why it sits over there.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Next item is 2021 end of year board report, please.
Yes, sir. That's this booklet here. And we're required by the co-board to provide this information on an annual basis. It has a lot of good information, different status about courses. Uh, the first 2 pages is information that we sent to the Legislative Budget Board, and it covers the percent of courses completed, and it gives you a comparison there. You can see in 2015, we had a 93% course completion. 2020 is 94%. Contact hours by full-time, 73 in 15 and 70% in 2020. You can kind of go down the different statistics there. Percent of students enrolled who are minorities, right around 86 to 88%. Academically disadvantaged, 18 to 12%. Economically disadvantaged, 55 to 34%. Then the bulk of the report gives you an analysis of the different courses that are listed by the division they're in, by the faculty member, what course it is, and it tells you how many students persisted to the end of the term. And that's really the bulk of page 3 through 79. On page 80 begins the small class report. These are classes that are less than 10, and we identify those classes, what subject, the faculty member, and the section number. And then beginning on page 84, this is our course success, and it tells you how many students and the percent of students that received a grade of C or better in the course, how many students completed the course, and how many students withdrew from a course. And it's listed by faculty member by semester. Then if you jump to page 102, this gives you a breakdown of where our students are transferring to. You can see there, Angelo State had 14, Sul Ross 143, Sul Ross Alpine 7, A&M International 12, Corpus Christi 6, down Kingsville, A&M, Texas A&M San Antonio 14, Texas State 29, UTSA 69. So it kind of gives you a breakdown of how many students transferred, were they in developmental ed with us, and what's their GPA after the first year at the university. And how many students were not developmental ed and their GPA after the first year in the university. And that same information is provided there on the next 3 or 4 pages. Page 106 gives us the cost of attendance in district, out of district, and non-resident comparison for 3 years, followed by our fee schedule, and then the fee schedule broken down by hours. And then on page 111 begins the accountability report. And at the top of the page there, you can see the total breakdown in degrees and certificates awarded. For example, in 2018, we did a total of 1,001. certificates and awards. Certificate 1 being 315, certificate 2, 89, and associate's degree 597. Compared to 2020, we had a total of 1,240. 396 were one-year certificates, 79 were two-year, and 765 were associates, for a 28% increase. Down at the bottom, you see the graduation rates for 3, 4, and 6 year. A 3-year graduation rate is 41% for the entering cohort of 2017. And then it has success points on page 113, how many we earned on each year. Percentage increase, percentage decrease. And you have contact hour generated, academic, technical on page 114. Just trying to hit highlights for you. There's a lot of information.
And Dr. Gonzalez, who utilizes all this information, like SACS and anybody else that?
Yeah, so we provide this after we provide it to you all as a board. We provide it to our division chairs. And they can look at course success for their division for a particular subject and see, you have 5 or 6 faculty members and look at variances within that one subject, that one class, and, look at improvement plans.
We analyze it and see why the success rate is not what it should be, et cetera.
Why does one faculty member have a 98% success rate and all the other 4 have a 72?
Right.
So it's, first glance, you would say, well, maybe one of them is too easy. Or you could say the other 4 are too hard. But it encourages that discussion.
So the faculty looks at this also.
Yes, it's made available to division chairs so then they can have those conversations with faculty.
Dr. Gonzalez, is a dual credit broken down even further, or just these statistics are the only ones we have as far as their success rate?
Yes, we have them broken down further, but this one is more of a course base, so you would have to look, for example, the sections that begin with R are dual credit. Sections that, and we can provide a crosswalk here, but like the T's.
What page are you on?
Just in that course.
It's not broken down specifically to.
No, but we can do that.
Yeah.
We can provide that. Yeah, in fact, we'll talk about that a little bit more in the presence report when I talk about our accreditation visit.
Any other questions or comments? If not, we'll hear the Title 9 report.
Yes, sir. That's report number 5C in your packet. We're required by statute to share this report with you and then submit it to the state. If you look at the second page there, it provides data on the number of incidents. There was 0 incidents to report. On the third page, kind of gives the Title IX coordinator report, and there was no reports, allegations of sexual assault, sexual harassment. Yes, on either Table 1, Table 2, and then Appendix B, again, there was no report submitted. So we'll, after sharing this with the board, we'll file it with the state tomorrow The deadline is October 31st to submit the report, the annual report on Title IX.
Any questions or comments? Not, next item is the president's report.
Yes, sir. That's item number 6 in your packet. So beginning with COVID-19, it appears we're on the downhill side of the latest surge. Hopefully within the next 30 days, we'll begin reaching the levels that we had in May and June of this past summer. And then hoping that we can sustain that through the holidays. Positivity rate still hovers between 12 and 15%. Our analysis looking at the COVID county level data, we're still in a high level of community transmission in our 4 counties that we have campuses on. So we're keeping our mask requirement until those get down below a substantial level. We're tentatively making plans for Turkey Trot, which is an outdoor event, the high school invitational, and Christmas at the college. Our reopen committee is discussing those every week as we move closer and making the necessary recommendations and adjustments to keep everybody safe. Under partnership and grants, we've submitted a proposal to Union Pacific to help with a diesel expansion in Eagle Pass. They have reviewed the initial informal proposal, encouraged us to submit a formal proposal that they will then share with their Union Pacific executive team. And that would help us expand lab space for that program. If you recall, earlier in the year, we received a approximate $300,000 JET grant from the Workforce Commission to expand the equipment in the diesel program. We continue collaborating with Saul Ross. Our student services and their student services are in more talks and trying to identify best practices and initiatives to help the transfer of students between the institutions. Next week, both President Gallego and myself will address the boards of Workforce Board and Middle Rio Grande Development Council Board. They're conducting a board retreat for them. We'll address both of the boards and share what we're doing to advance higher ed in our region. The third bullet there, last month I shared that we were awarded a $1.5 million IREPO grant. And this month, I'm happy to report that we've been awarded between $3.5 million and $4 million U.S. Department of Ed Title III grant, which will allow us to expand surgery tech, construction science, ag science, and cybersecurity. Funds us for the equipment, curriculum design, and faculty for those startup programs. Under the fourth bullet, we're also working with Economic Development Agency. It's one of the agencies under Department of Labor on a good job grant application. We're working in collaboration with Middle Rio Grande, Workforce Solutions, Saul Ross. This is a big grant. It's capped at $20 million, and it is designed to help expand training to the region. So we're evaluating the following programs, adding a medical lab tech, a physical therapy tech, heavy equipment operator, expanding our aviation power plant. As you recall, we have the aviation airframe, diesel tech, and then power line tech. Again, the emphasis of the grant is to expand technical programs throughout our region. We're also working with Saul Ross to see if there's an ability to add a Bachelor's of Applied Science in Computer Science that would link up with our cybersecurity program, and also looking for a Bachelor's of Applied Science in a health-related area. So those programs that, besides the RN program that feeds into a BSN, this would help like the rad tech, CNAs, patient care techs, give them an option to go to a BASH degree, a Bachelor of Applied Science, whether it would be in health science, health administration, or medical information systems. They're evaluating it on their side, but it would give them an option to continue down that path and not be terminal with their degree. This grant covers startup costs, equipment, supplies, curriculum, faculty, wraparound services. The only thing it doesn't cover is the cost of facilities, but it will cover lease payments. So there's a possibility, and I want to visit with the board if it's something that perhaps the Southwest Texas Junior College Foundation might entertain to build a facility, charge the lease to the grant for the 3 years. Obviously, we'll run the analysis and see what the cost is versus the lease, but that might be an opportunity to provide some facility support for some of these programs by leasing from the foundation.
What kind of building? Is it a classroom building or?
Could be a classroom building if we're talking aviation, heavy equipment, maybe like a metal building with lab space. So we're evaluating that and we're looking at different options. As I mentioned, we had our SAC COC offsite visit Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday this week. They visited 8 sites, primarily high school dual credit sites. We had our exit conference Wednesday morning. We have 2 recommendations that we're going to have. One of them is faculty credentials. So we've got to submit additional documentation on certain faculty that they either we didn't provide all the evidence or they didn't think it was sufficient enough. So we'll have an opportunity to address that and correct that. And the second one deals with student learning outcomes. And going to Ms. Lada's comment, they want to see more disaggregation by site. So doing a comparison of, for example, students in Del Rio High School in history are doing the same, or how are they doing compared to students in Uvalde, in Eagle Pass, in Hondo High School. So that kind of level of comparison. And also more analysis of student learning outcomes within the classroom. So Dr. Underwood, the deans, division chairs will be working with faculty to incorporate more specific student learning outcomes that can then be used to assess and compare between sites. So they want to see more of a comparison between the different sites. And then, of course, activities to support, specific deficits at one site as compared to another site.
They just want to make sure that it's all equitable, probably,
Across.
right?
Across. So that's, we're going to be doing more of that on a per school, per site basis.
That's great.
And those were the only 2. They were very pleased with everything that they saw, very complimentary. They were disappointed that they couldn't be here physically. It was a virtual visit. So we had teams at the 8 different sites, hosting them via Zoom. And they interviewed students, they interviewed our adjunct faculty, and they were very pleased with the comments and what they saw. So those were 2 recommendations. That the faculty one probably comes up on 90% of the recommendations. We got the list this afternoon, and it's not anything unsurmountable. I mean, everything that we have in there, we've evaluated and made a recommendation or a decision that they were eligible to teach that subject. Under CARES funding, we were awarded, again, this is repetitive, but $11 million in student funds. We've awarded 7.8 at the time of this report, so I think we've done a little bit more than that since this. On the institutional side, we were awarded 16.5 we've expended 7.8. 6.2 of that is in lost revenue, which includes the current fall and the projected for spring. We have POs outstanding for $64,000, leaving us $2.4 million to be spent. And we have the projected to spend those on the reworking the HVAC system in the WIP building, the Allied Health building, IT programming, generator, and then the modular building for that 1.8, leaving us a true available of about 573,000. You see the recap there of the lost revenue and indirect cost. And then at the bottom, you see the deferred maintenance projects that we discussed at the budget meeting of utilizing the lost revenue that we had in excess last year. And that's the Chittum and AEL parking lot. That's in progress right now and probably, Derek, about 60, 70% complete.
Yes, sir. We'll go to
And then we have a projected cost to redo the building C roof in Eagle Pass, and then the Forge Hall, and then some upgrade on equipment fleet. On the last page, happy to report our men's rodeo team won first at Northeast Texas Rodeo. And that was quite an accomplishment. Our rodeo coach was very excited to share that they got first place. We have their next rodeo on the 29th. That's at Lake Charles at McNeese State, followed by Sam Houston, board meeting, turkey trot, and then Thanksgiving holidays. I also have, I think in your pack, at your desk, we did a grant recap. It should have been in the folder at your desk. It looks like this, has our logo. I asked Randa to put this together for us, but in 2020 and 2021, we were awarded $40.9 million in federal grants, federal and state. So the first one there is the JET grant. That's the $296,000 for diesel equipment. Of course, you have the McKinsey Scott, the $5 million. You have the HERF there, which is about, $27.5 million. 16.5 for the institution, 11 that went straight to students. Then we have their STEM grant at $3.7 million. We have the IREPO grant, the institutional resilience, at 1.5. And then we have student support services at 1.7 and EOC at 1.3. Now the last two, we've had those programs before. These are renewals, so we got awarded for another 5 years. So we had a good grant year last year and even this year. So I wanted to share that with the board there.
Thank you, Hector. Next item is consider an act on financial statements of September 30, 2021. Ann, please.
Okay. Number 7 in your packet is the abbreviated report that you get during the time that we are being audited. We can't close last year until you approve the audited financial statements. So this is simply account balances to report on right now. As of September 30th, you'll see on page 15, we had cash in the bank of $6,724,000. We had certificates of deposit in the amount of $12,850,000, making our total account balance $19,574,000. Pages 16 through 18 are a list of our investments in certificates of deposit. We had restricted certificates of deposit in the amount of $8,850,000, unrestricted $4 million, and a total amount of certificates of deposit again were $12,850,000. On page 19 are our maturities and renewals for the month. And on page 20 are our scholarship amounts. We had total scholarships in the amount of $952,943. Our other investments are the Will C. Miller corporate stocks, which were valued at $245,833, and our corporate plant funds were valued at $145,554.
Any questions or comments? We'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the financial statement.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. All opposed, motion carries. Next item is consider an act on Del Rio hangar lease.
Yes, sir, that's item number 8. This lease is going from $1,500 to $1,750 per month. This is the hangar that houses our aviation program. The yearly cost is going to go up from $18,000 to $21,000.
Any other changes besides
Those are the only changes.
any questions or comments? If not, we'll entertain a motion.
I'll move.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Next item is consider an act on rescheduling December board meeting.
Yes, sir, we would ask if the board would consider moving the meeting from December the 16th to December the 9th.
December the what?
The 9th,
No.
our college will be closed for the break beginning on December the 15th.
Any discussion?
Move to accept the change.
We'll entertain a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. It is now 7:41, and the Board of Trustees of Southwest Texas Junior College will convene in closed session in accordance with the Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code 551.074 to consider employees terminated, resigned, retired, new hires, transfers, Texas Government Code 551.074. We're now in executive session. It is now 8:25 p.m. and the Board of Trustees of Southwest Texas Junior College is now in open session. Do we have any action items to consider? If not,
I move we adjourn.
I'll second.
all in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Carries. We're adjourned. Thank you.